Feedback Learnex, English forever.
Welcome, Learnex community, to this week's edition of Feedback Learnex. Before we dive into this very interesting topic, I'd like to remind you to make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Learnex Current Events, where you will find videos about different topics, vocabulary, spelling, and much, much more, all for your learning. Now, let's get started. Richard Wolff. Behind every story, there is a production team, and this man has made the series a boom, and the most successful of them all is Law & Order. The producer started his advertising career in New York, but his aspirations were always to write screenplays for Hollywood. He would end up moving to Los Angeles and even getting some of his scripts turned into movies, like Masquerade for a Crime in 1988 with Rob Lowe and Meg Tilly. However, it is on television where Wolff would end up finding his niche, and he would do so by working in some popular titles. His first series was in fact Sad Song of Hill Street, which revolutionized police titles by favoring bows that lasted more than one episode and gave great importance to the personal lives of its protagonists. Wolff would later be nominated for an Emmy for one of the chapters he wrote for the Stephen Bosch Show series, and from there he would go on to Miami Vice, on which he became a co-producer in seasons 3 and 4. Dick Wolff hated television, but started working on it for money. He was quoted as saying, "I had been a screenwriter for 8 years and had already made 4 films. And when my agent told me about making television, I didn't understand why I should do it. I refused to do it. But he told me that they would pay me about $6,000 a week as a salary in addition to what they will pay me for my scripts." Law & Order Special Victims Unit. Wolff is one of the best known and most respected creators in the business. He owns the Law & Order franchise, which was born in 1990. And which with several sequels is still alive thanks to the Special Victims Unit, focused on cases of sexual crimes. Also his are Chicago Fire PD, Med and Justice, focused on the firefighters, police, doctors, and lawyers of that city. Behind them, a formula based on groups of characters dedicated to a profession and plots with a different case per chapter, so that if a viewer misses an episode, it is easy to rearrange with the story in the next one. Wolff has ensured that the success of series depends on many factors, but that the base is always in the script. The fascination of this New Yorker for the city of Chicago, which gives name to one of his franchises, is striking. He is quoted as saying, "I didn't have any personal connection to Chicago before, really. Basically, it's the city in the country that most resembles New York in terms of skyscrapers, big buildings, and its streets." Although his firm is behind many series, his involvement in each of them is different. He pays more attention to a younger series, obviously, and in the case of Law & Order Special Victims Unit, he just reads the final scripts and voila. To this day, Wolff continues to produce for NBC and CBS. When Law & Order was already losing the influence it had at the time in NBC, especially after the failed Law & Order Los Angeles, Wolff tried his luck in another city, Chicago, and went from prosecutors and police to firefighters. Chicago Fire premiered in 2012, recovering part of the spirit of another series that focused on firefighters as well as paramedics and New York police called Duty Shift. In fact, it almost seems that this unfolding drama is what Dick Wolff's Chicago saga has become, as the Chicago Fire gave way to the Chicago PD cops, and they paved the way for the Chicago Med doctors. This turned into a pretty solid audience hit for NBC, and only the attempt to focus on prosecutors with Chicago Justice not quite as successful. All these series plus Law & Order SVU form something like an integral universe of Dick Wolff, making several three-way crossovers and cementing his position as a producer of old-school procedurals, which managed to attract the attention of the audience by seeking empathy with its characters. Now that wraps up this week's edition of Feedback Learnex. Join us in our special activities as we take a look at these activities and so much more.
Feedback Learnex, English Forever. Estamos en sintonía. Feedback Learnex, English Forever.